You wake up, you don't know what time it is. There's no phone on the nightstand because there's no nightstand and there's no phone, and honestly, there's no such thing as a number yet. There's no clock on the wall, no watch on your wrist, no little glowing rectangle to tell you you've overslept. It's somewhere around 10,000 years ago, and you've just opened your eyes to a problem every human before you had to solve. It's daytime, sure, but what time is it? So how did they do it? How did ancient humans with 0 clocks and 0 numbers know when to wake, when to hunt, when to plant, when to run? The answer is that they had clocks the entire time, incredible ones. They just weren't hanging on a wall. The first clock was the sky, and the second one, this is the part nobody tells you, was running inside their own body the whole time. Let's start with the obvious one, the sun. The sun is the original clock, and it's a shockingly good one. It comes up on one side, drags itself across the sky, and goes down on the other, every single day. Totally reliable. Watch where it sits, and you've basically got a rough hour hand. But here's the upgrade ancient people figured out fast. Shadows. A shadow is long and stretched out in the early morning, shrinks down to almost nothing at midday, then stretches the other way as the sun sinks. Stick a stick in the ground and watch its shadow move, and congratulations, you've built a clock. People were reading the day off the ground beneath their feet for thousands of years before anyone carved a fancy sundial. But the sun only works when the sun's out, so what about your body? Because here's where it gets genuinely strange. You are a clock. Right now. Inside you, there's a biological timer ticking away on roughly a 24-hour loop, controlling when you get sleepy, when you wake up, when your body temperature rises and falls. We call it your circadian rhythm, and the wild part is it doesn't need the sun to run. We know this because of a brutal experiment. A researcher sealed himself deep in a cave for months. No sunlight, no clocks, no way of knowing day from night. And his body just kept time anyway. He kept falling asleep and waking up on a cycle close to 24 hours, with no outside clue at all. Think about that. Strip away the sun, the moon, the stars, everything. And a human being still keeps the beat. Your ancestors didn't just look at clocks. They were clocks. Okay, the sun handles your day. But what about the bigger stuff? Weeks, months, the long haul? For that, they looked up at night, at the moon. The moon is the second great clock in the sky, and it's perfect for tracking longer stretches, because it changes shape on a dependable schedule, a thin sliver, growing to a full bright circle, shrinking back to nothing over and over about every 29 days. You don't even need to be clever to use it, you just have to watch. And here's the thing, that word, month, it comes straight from moon. Every time you say it, you're using a unit of time invented by people staring at the sky tens of thousands of years ago. Now, let me throw something at you that sounds wild, but is taken completely seriously. We may have actually found one of those ancient moon clocks. Archaeologists dug up a small piece of bone, carefully carved with 29 notches, and it's more than 40,000 years old. 29 notches, the exact length of a lunar cycle. A lot of researchers think it's a tally. Somebody scratching off the days of the moon one by one. If they're right, that little carved bone might be one of the oldest calendars on the planet. Older than farming, older than writing, older than basically everything you learned about in school. Someone was keeping a calendar before our species had cities, metal, or the wheel. And then there are the stars, not the long-range calendar. Ancient people noticed that certain bright stars vanish from the sky for part of the year, then reappear at dawn on roughly the same date every year. And that reappearance could line up with something huge, a river about to flood, a season about to turn, a herd about to migrate. So the sky wasn't just a clock, it was a warning system, a planting guide, a survival manual written in starlight, and people learned to read it fluently. But here's a reframe that'll mess with you a little. For most of human history, nobody measured time in minutes, because the minute didn't exist, and frankly, nobody needed it. They measured time in tasks. How long is a little while? About as long as it takes to cook a meal. How far away is the next camp? Oh, roughly 2 meals of walking. Time wasn't a number you read off a device. It was the rhythm of stuff actually happening. The meal, the walk, the hunt, the story, the abstract, sliced up, hour and minute kind of time you live by, that's a recent invention. For thousands of years, time was just Life, measured by life. Eventually, people did start building little timers of their own, and they're wonderfully low tech. Some let water drip from one bowl into another at a steady pace and read the time off how full it got. Others burned a marked length of rope or a candle scored with lines, and watched the flame eat down to the next notch. No gears, no batteries, no numbers even. Just something happening at a steady, predictable speed, which is secretly all a clock has ever been. A modern watch and a slowly dripping bowl of water are doing the exact same job. One just looks a lot fancier doing it. And get this, ancient people cared about catching time so much that some of them moved unimaginable amounts of stone to do it. There are massive stone structures built with nothing but muscle and patience, lined up so precisely with the sky that on one single morning a year, sunrise light spears straight through the whole thing and lands dead center. That's not luck. That's a civilization saying, this exact day matters so much, we will build a mountain to catch it. That's how badly humans wanted to hold on to time. Now, let's be honest about something because it flips this whole video on its head. We tend to think we're the ones who solved time with our clocks and our phones and our perfect atomic precision. But you could argue ancient humans had something we lost. They never once asked, what time is it? The anxious way you do. They asked a better question. Is it time? Is it time to plant, to move, to rest? Their time wasn't a countdown pressing down on them. It was a tide they moved with. We got the precision, they got the peace. Honestly, not sure we came out ahead. So how did ancient humans tell time without clocks? They read the sun's shadow crawling across the dirt. They counted the moon swelling and shrinking, sometimes notching it into bone. They watched for a single star to climb back over the horizon and knew the season had turned. They measured the day in meals and the year in migrations, and all of it ran on top of the quiet clock ticking inside their own chests, the same one ticking inside yours right now. So the next time you reach for your phone just to check the hour, stop for 1 second first. Look at where the sun is. Notice whether you feel tired or wide awake, because your body already knew roughly what time it was. It's been keeping that time since long before there were clocks to ignore it. The sky is still up there. The clock inside you is still running. You're just the first kind of human in 200,000 years who forgot how to read either one.